Today, let's talk about a topic that is very important, which is file system usage. In your satellite, as you know, pulp is the component responsible to sync content, and eventually varly pulp can get a little bit full. So your main question is, okay, how can I clean up some stuff? How can I remove some files? Can I go straight to the directory, varly pulp something, and delete some files manually? Please don't do that. Don't go this path. This is bad. In this video, I'm going to show you some ways that you can follow in a way that we can reclaim some space. We can reclaim some storage. And at the end of the day, you see how easy and how simple it is. So let's go to the video. Here we can see the satellite, but as you know, we like to see under the hood because this is the fun part. So this is a terminal to satellite, all of them. And on this one specifically, I have a watch over here. So basically, let me show you. We can see every second we are executing the U-HS on varly pulp media, the U-KS on varly pulp media, and also the U-KS on varly pulp star. So basically what will happen is we can see the usage of our media, and underneath the media we can see the artifacts, and this one over here will show us some temporary folders as well. So during the sync process, pulp is going to use this temporary area just to sync content, and then we'll be able to see some movement over here. All right, let me start from the web UI, and then we can see some content. So let's go to content on the left menu, products. And over here, we can see some repositories, like I have my third-party repository. I believe this size is good now. We can see some third-party repository. By default, third-party will be immediate, the download policy. So let me open one over here. If we scroll down, we can see download policy. In this case, it is on demand, but by default for third-party will be something like this. And for Red Hat repositories, the standard will be something like on demand, like this. Basically, the main difference is on demand, satellite is going to download the metadata. Immediate, satellite is going to download the whole package, the whole list or set of package from that specific repository. And Wally, is there an easy way to see all the repositories, the ones that are on demand and the ones that are immediate? I have a command over here. I'm going to paste on this terminal, but this will also be available in the description down below. So we can see here, this is a nested loop or a nested hammer. We can see that we have a hammer getting the output on CSV, removing the headers. Then we are looking for the repository list, my first organization, and I'm looking for just the fields ID. With that said, we move it on to this for loop, and the variable B will be the iteration. Each time will be one value, the value of one ID. For each of them, we have the hammer --CSV, again, CSV format. We are removing the headers, repository show --ID. We are passing that specific variable in that specific time. And then we are getting, or we are requesting just two fields, which are name and download policy. And then again, passing the organization ID. So let's take a look on this running real quick. And then we can have an idea about this output. So we can see that this repository, 7.4 rel 10, this is a Zabbix repository, is set to immediate. This one is set to immediate. This one immediate. My file is immediate. Over here we have Red Hat Enterprise Linux, upstream. This is on demand, on demand, on demand. And eventually I'm going to get some immediate over here. One question that I have that's very common is, hey, when checking the usage of my satellite, I see that I'm consuming a lot of storage, and then I came and I changed everything to on demand, but they still like consuming all that storage. So let me do this one here. This is the same as this one. We will keep this one as a reference because this one on the right is live, it is changing. And this one will be here, just sitting down. And then we can see like the original information or the original values, and we can see this changing on the right side. All right, some points that we need to keep in mind here. Let me start from the web UI, administer, settings. We can search by protect and content. And by default, you see this information, Orphan Content Protection Time. This is in minutes, and 1440 is equivalent to 24 hours. And what this means? If I delete some content, if I remove some repository, if I disable some repository from my satellite, and I try to clean up the storage, this will not be removed automatically or in this time. There is this protection, and this protection is tagging that content just to be removed after 24 hours. So for example, if I disable one repository right now and try to clean up this content, this cleanup is not going to work because we have this time. Can I change this one? Yes. Just click on top of the value and you can change. In my case, I'm going to put 1 minute, which means satellite now will know any package that has more than 1 minute will set as an old package. And if I try to run or execute my cleanup process, there you go. This is going to work. Okay, we have this one here. 1 second. I will not keep this forever. Just during this cleanup process. After that, I'm going to come back this to 24 hours. And in satellite, we have a process at Cronjob that is doing this cleanup for us. etc cron.d. There is one guy here. This one. The script katello underneath etc cron.d has this call that will be executed once a week, 22 p.m. or 10 p.m. And the call basically is this one. Foreman-rake, katello delete orphan content. So basically what will happen is if I have content that I'm not using, satellite is going to be smart enough to do all the double check, all the reference, cross check, and will clean up some storage for us. So let's give it a try. Let me copy this one. Let me paste and execute. Like I changed this one maybe 1 minute ago. Eventually we need like more minutes, like 2 minutes should be enough, but we can do a double check here. Let's see if this is gonna change something on our value. What will happen is this is gonna create a task. So let me open a new page. In this page, we'll check tasks and let's filter by running. And now we can see remove orphan. And okay, I need to wait for that remove orphan to finish. If I just see this one releasing the terminal, that doesn't mean that the task is gone, the task is completed. So let's come back here. Let me refresh. Okay, that task is finished. We can see that. And yeah, it seems like the same. See, 3.9, 3.9, 820, 820. It is the same. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's come back to the terminal. Let me get a repository that I know for sure that will help us during this understanding. Let's access this Red Hat satellite, and this is the ISO. Like we don't need the ISO on satellite, but I would like to have this one here. This is OnDemand. As I mentioned before, this will not download the content. I'm gonna change this one to immediate. It is updated. Now I would like to sync. So let's come back to the CLI and let's see what will happen. Because during this process of synchronization, we can see that this folder over here will start downloading package. We'll start bumping those values. See, this is a temporary file. Basically what's happening here is Pulp is going to the CDN. It is collecting the content. It is downloading this content to this specific folder, this temporary area or this stage area. And eventually this will be moved to Varley Pulp Media artifacts in the correct place. But for now, we can see this is over here. This is on kilobytes, so kilo, mega, 2.6 gigs at this moment. We can take a look on the task. It's still running. Check this out. We have kilobytes, megabytes, gigs, 10 gigs, the average over here. And this is happening, this huge volume, because I'm syncing ISO. ISO files, they are huge. And because of that, like we can see this huge amount of usage, but eventually this will just end up in the correct place. All right, check this out. We have 12 gigs right now on Varley Pulp Media. There's nothing else over here in the temporary area. And basically, yeah, the task is succeeded. The task is finished already. So we have this scenario. This is one of the scenarios, very, very common scenario. It's like, okay, I have my satellite. My satellite is consuming like eventually 1 terabyte, but for the sake of learning, I don't want it to fill up this disk. But we can see like in the beginning of this session, I was using 3.9 or consuming 3.9 gigs. And now we have 12 gigs. This can happen. This is very easy to happen. And you are seeing that right now. What can happen with this behavior is something like this. Let me access my satellite content, Red Hat repositories. And then in this page, I'm gonna do a double check on the repositories that I'm not using. For example, I know for sure that that repository is the ISO. So I can search by ISO. This is the repository. And then you ask me, hey Wally, are you using ISO in your satellite? Nope, I'm not. Can I remove this one? Yes, let me remove. And then I can proceed with this cleanup process in multiple repositories. Like I can remove multiple repositories from my satellite. And this is okay. This is great. For example, rel 5, rel 6, rel 7. Eventually there are a bunch of repositories that you are not using anymore. They are not related to any content view or composite content view. And you can see the blue button here is not grayed out. So you can disable, you can remove them. However, whenever you remove them, you return to your terminal and you see, man, this is wrong because I'm still consuming that amount of data, that amount of storage. And anytime that I run this one manually, like I just remove this one from my satellite, remove all the repositories, execute this command over here, and I'm still with 12 gigs. What is the reason? The reason, my friends, are you ready? The reason is this. Underneath settings, let's click on search, protect. You can click on content tab and you can see this Orphan Content Protection Time to 1440, which means 24 hours. Whenever I remove all the repositories from satellite will keep those repositories for 24 hours. Doesn't matter how many times I execute this command, that's it. Satellite will respect that 24 hours, and only after 24 hours, this command is gonna work and this value is gonna reduce. This is the trick. If you like to do this now because you're consuming all your file system and you need to clean up some storage, some area, you can access this page, change this one to 1. Eventually you have to wait like 2 minutes or 3 just for the sake of effect. And yes, you can rerun this command. So I'm not sure if we have already 1 minute or maybe 2 after the sync, but I removed that repository already. So let's do a double check over here under products, reload. That was satellite. See, I don't have satellite anymore. Let me execute this one. I will not clean up the screen. This is gonna create a task, another task. Whenever the terminal releases at the bottom, the task will be in place. See, now we have this remove orphans, and I can do a double check from here, and there you go. Look at that beauty. Totally deserves a subscription, huh? This is amazing because now we know for sure, like I'm not using that repository anymore. I deleted that repository from my satellite. I would like to get this area back, this storage back, and then boom, we are as in the beginning. And before, this value over here was 12 gigs. Cool? This is the first approach. Like whenever you have your repository, you remove that content or that repository and you would like to clean up, you can definitely execute this command. As we saw, this command will be executed automatically or automatically by satellite every weekend. But again, let's suppose that you just Saturday or Sunday in the morning, you just access your satellite and you say, okay, let me remove this repository. That action will be in effect just 1 week later because 24 hours will match with this one. Satellite will see this machine, these or those repositories are still in this 24 hours window. Then, okay, I will not remove this one right now. And then we'll pass like 1 week. In the next week, for sure, this command is gonna clean up all that storage. Or eventually, if you came and execute this one during the week, there you go. That content is gonna vanish. This is one approach. Another one, let me clean up, that task is gone. Another one is OnDemand. So let me show you one different repository, this one. This is our capsule or capsule repository. And as I mentioned before, That was on demand, and I changed this to immediate. And right now, I would like to synchronize this one. So let me do a complete sync. Let's see if something is gonna change over here. This is another very common question, like, hey, what if I do have my repositories? Eventually, I used to have all of them on demand, and I changed all of them to immediate for any specific reason, like this repository. And then once I came to my file system, okay, we can see they still the same. That's okay. But eventually I came to my machine and I saw, okay, I don't need this immediate because this is consuming too much storage. So can I change this one to on demand? Yes, definitely you can. For God's sake, this is amazing. And now my expectation is, let me come back to my CLI and this is wrong because I was expecting that repository to do some change or change some value over here. And it is not happening. Even if I rerun this command, this will not take effect on this one. And why is that? Because now we are handling cache. We are handling all the files that were used by the on-demand feature. In other words, once you do this change, you can access the repository, click on select action, and click on reclaim space. Keep in mind that reclaim space is valid only for on-demand. So let me do one thing here. Let me come back this to immediate. Then select action, reclaim space. We have a very clear message here, on demand only. Repositories will delete all cache content units. So yes, if your repository is not on demand, this is not gonna take any effect on top of that. If I try again, there you go. Only on demand repositories may have space reclaimed. So yeah, this is one attention point. Will not stop your satellite, will not cause any problem. We'll just let you know. And yeah, that is not a happy warning. Let's change this to on demand. So we change it. Let's click on reclaim space, reclaim. Again, a new task is going to be created. We can check the task, but I would like to be looking on this one. Let's take a look on the tasks. Refresh, reclaim space, and that is for this specific repository. And there you go. See, now we are on 3 gigs. Before it used to be 3.9. Then we can see the number in kilobytes over here as well. So yes, if we take a look on the task, that task is gone. If I search by that task, reclaim, I can see the last one was success. And this is awesome because now you just saw that we can reclaim some data or some storage from that specific repository. I can just access this repository and then there you go. After that, I can click on reclaim space and that's it. Beauty. This is gonna reclaim a lot of storage. But Wally, one good question here, and I know I'm reading your mind. I did this for one repository. So let's come back this one to immediate. I'm gonna sync again, and then we can be playing back and forth. We can see the results. Wally, what will happen if I have multiple repositories and those repositories are set as immediate? And then eventually I change all of them to on-demand. And we are talking about 100 repositories. So I have to go one by one and do this reclaim space one by one. This is boring. This is very boring. And yes, I agree with you. This is not a good move. This is not a good way to do this reclaiming, to do this action. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. Achieve the same goal easily, straight to the point. We can see this repository is again consuming some area. So this is going to finish. There you go. So let me come back to this repository. Let me set this to on demand. We are in a similar situation as before. So yes, let's suppose that this is one of 100. I have made this change on multiple repositories. For example, let me pick another one. Let me pick the Zabbix. And then I know that they are immediate. So I can do a change like this. Immediate to on demand, immediate to on demand. Same here and here as well. Okay, now that I have all my repositories with on demand, should I go one by one? This is unfair. And yes, guys, I agree with you. This is not fair. The way to do that, are you ready? And this totally deserves your subscription. Let's click on the left menu, Infrastructure, Capsule. You can click on the capsule in question, in this case, is satellite itself. And there is this Reclaim Space button. What will happen is, if you go to one specific repository and you click on that Reclaim, you will see in your task something like this. This is reclaiming space for this specific repository. If you access your satellite and click on this reclaim space, this is going to pass through all the repositories. And for any of them that you set to OnDemand, this task is going to be executed and the storage will be just cleaned up. Pretty cool, huh? So let's do that. Let's click over here. The task will be created. We can see now two tasks, reclaim space. This is going to spend some additional time because this is passing through all the repositories. But the main goal is, at the end of the day, this will pass through all the repositories and will clean up all the storage available as possible. Pretty cool, huh? All right, we can see that we got 1 gig back from 3.9 to 2.9. If we do a double check on the task, we have this task over here, reclaim space. Now the task is gone, which means that task that was responsible to clean up all the storage, all this stuff, it's finished, concluded successfully. Let me get the reclaim here. See, and this spent 2 minutes. See the difference? Like, this is passing through all the repositories, at least all the repositories that I have in my environment. This was 2 minutes. This one was the similar process for one specific repository, 44 seconds. So yes, this can be maybe 5 minutes based on the number of repositories that you have in your environment. If you have multiple repositories, yeah, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it's gonna finish. But keep in mind that this will not be a few seconds. This is going to spend some additional time, all right? And here we can see the difference, which is pretty cool. All right, final step. Don't forget about this. Let's come back to Administer. I have in a different tab, but just to memorize, Administer, Settings. Let's search for Protect, Content tab. Let's click on top of the value, 1440. 1440, which means 24 hours. And now, again, if you remove some repository, if you disable a repository or remove the repository from your satellite, and you execute this command over here, let me clean up the screen now, this will not be removed in this window of 24 hours because now you have this value in place. If you like to clean up this real quick, real fast, again, you can change this to 1 minute, wait for 2 minutes, and then rerun this command and be happy because your storage or your cleanup process is going to work as expected. All right, I'm going to keep this 24 hours and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to join us in our Discord channel and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.